I just wanted to do a quick video. I wanted to talk today about commitment. Well, first off, in the book, because I keep going back to it, almost like it's the Bible, but in the 12-week year, they're talking about. He was talking about how there are three principles that are sort of key to this process. The first one is accountability, which I talked about yesterday. The second one is commitment, which is, I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. And then the third was greatness in the moment, which I talked about first. So I've gotten the order mixed up, but now you know, right? So commitment, commitment, I guess the definition that what he was talking about is about being bound to a certain course of action, either emotionally or intellectually. And what this allows for us is when you keep your commitments with other people, it helps build trust and it builds relationships. When you're keeping commitments as far as yourself, you gain self-esteem, character, and success, because there's no success without commitments. It's funny when, there's a bunch of things I've committed myself to recently, and honestly, it scares me because I don't trust myself. There was a period in my life, honestly, most of my life up until, somewhere in my 20s, maybe my 30s. No, I was in my 30s, where it was a keystone part of my personality and my character, where if I said something, even I didn't have to say I promise, if I said something, it was done. And I was very careful about what I said out loud, because I was like, if I say it, I have to do it, right? And somewhere along the way, I think a friend of mine said something like, oh my goodness, you say things and you do them. And like, that's the first time it occurred to me, like, oh, I could say something and not do it. And then somehow, like, it just went from there. And especially when you're depressed, and I was depressed for a while, like, you just don't do anything, So at this point, I don't trust myself, which makes me sad, and it makes me want to change it. So I guess I'm committed to this, right? But the other thing about commitments is they require, Brian Moran, I think is his name, commitment requires three things, right? The first is a strong desire, because otherwise you're not gonna do it. The times that it gets tough, you're just gonna be like, whatever, I don't care. You have to really want whatever it is the result is gonna be. The second thing he was talking about was keystone actions. And this is like, you have to, with strong desire, that's what we were talking about with creating your visions, right? Your aspirational vision and your 3-year vision, right? Those are your strong desires. Those are the things that like get you and grab you and boom, make you want to do it, right? The second thing is about actions. And that's something we're going to actually be talking about later on today, when we're talking about choosing goals and what you're going to do to accomplish them. But basically, there are a ton of things you could do to accomplish whatever it is your goal is, right? But like the 80-20 rule applies there, where like 80% of your results are going to happen from 20% of your actions. There are what he calls keystone actions, that if you choose them, it's just a few of them, and they will get you where you're going. The third thing that he was talking about was cost, right? What is it going to cost me? And the cost can be like an emotional thing. It can be a financial thing. It can be whatever, time thing. And for me, this is costing me a little bit of fear, uncertainty, mistrust. And, it's time, but I don't care about the time. It's being uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable making commitments because I'm not I don't trust myself to keep them, but I'm going to keep these. This is happening. I've committed to too many people to not do this. I have a real problem keeping commitments to myself, but when like, anyway, so you got to figure out what the cost is, and you have to like detail that in your mind so that when those things come up and you don't want to follow through, you say to yourself, you know, you realize like, okay, I anticipated this. And, you know, I mean, it just helps to be able to say like, okay, I knew this was going to happen, right? I knew that this was going to happen, and here's how I'm going to deal with it. And the way you deal with it is the fourth thing, which is, acting on commitments versus feelings. Because if you act on feelings, he makes a like a distinction between commitment and interest. And if you just do things when you feel like it and not when things get tough, that's an interest, right? But when you commit to something and you do it, it no longer becomes like, if I'm going to do this, it becomes like how I'm going to do this. And I think that's an important distinction. Anyway, these are the things I wanted to talk to you about commitment. And if you have anything to say, please put your comments down there. And I will be talking about our third step in our week 0 later on. Thank you guys for listening, if you're listening, and talk to you later.